Hey, Pete Ramsey here. I want to personally welcome you to your HVAC Greatness for HVAC Business Owners and Managers. This particular group, as if you haven't figured it out, it's a safe place. It's where business owners can come together without being in the same room as their direct competitors, but yet being in the same room as peers throughout North America. And so it's a place where no sales are permitted. It's just a safe place to come and help each other. Now, the reason for this video is based on what your HVAC greatness is all about and why it is so important to you. And if I have done my job right by the end of this video, you will take away an insight that you've never enjoyed before. So let's start with the obvious. The low price is the go-to choice for the underinformed customer and the undervalued HVAC contractor. I think we've all experienced this to a degree, particularly in those first few years, but it's not until later that we understand what a huge impact allowing the value of your company and your processes and your services to bleed through in a way that an educated customer gets it. And they understand that this is not a payment, this is an investment in themselves, in their comfort, in their health, and in other areas of their family's lives. Now, this is a large body of work. This is not a quick fix, but we generally tend to look for the quick fix. So here's a typical side effect that a lack of perceived HVAC greatness will create. Now, keep in mind that in your first years, you really have to spend a lot of time in customer acquisition mode. And so getting that phone to ring is really important. But as you mature, this should not be your issue as you develop, because there is a solution, and we're going to be talking about some of that today. Another one is, well, people around here, they won't pay what I'm worth, or they can't afford what I'm worth. This is not the case, and we're going to talk about why as we go. A big one today is there just aren't any good technicians out there. Believe it or not, this is tied to your HVAC greatness, because there are some good technicians out there. They're just not working for you. And why not? So let's move into this key understanding right here. Let me introduce you to your new best friend, or probably up until now, your old worst enemy. It's called the amygdala. We all have one, and it's very instrumental in our success and our setbacks. For centuries, we thought that we understood how decision-making worked. So during the 1990s, this new imaging technology came out, and they were able to actually record the decision-making process and understand it more fully. And what they discovered is going to blow your mind. So our intention here is for you to get the understanding, and we don't want to go too deep into this, but the basic principle is that the amygdala is the real decision maker. The amygdala makes that choice. Look at the chart on the left. When stimulus comes into the brain, let's say an HVAC contractor is out there talking to them about logical data, SEER rating, BTUs, efficiency, return on investment, all of the things that makes sense. This is how the amygdala deals with that. As the information comes in, the amygdala recognizes that as logical, and therefore it routes that to the prefrontal cortex for a cognitive evaluation. In other words, it puts up there in that part of the brain where we're considering all of the data and trying to figure out, okay, is this right for me? Is this what I want? Is this what I need? And as it circles back around to the amygdala dumps it right back to the prefrontal cortex. And so there's a loop there, and people can't decide now, and they want to think about it. By contrast, if you look at the chart on the right, when the stimulus is emotion-based, and it comes to the amygdala, and the amygdala recognizes that as something that's consistent with the way it behaves, or it has behaved in the past, it automatically goes down into what's called a trigger, an emotional trigger. In other words, people instantly make a decision, and they feel it in their gut. not in their head. And if you don't think you do this, I want you to think back to the last time you bought that new truck. 4-wheel drive, leather seats, extended cab or 4-door, towing package, all the different things that you got. And you know why you bought that. You bought that because something in your gut said, I want this truck. Did you not? But then we justify it with a logic. We say, it's a write-off. It's really good on gas. I've got the extra cargo space. I've got the towing hitch. I've got the hitch so I can tow things, blah, blah, blah. You bought that for emotional reasons, and then you justify it for logical. So what we've learned is that human beings are not thinking machines. We are feeling machines that think, and this is important to you because you need to stop just speaking logic to your customers, and you need to learn to communicate on an emotional level. So how does that apply? It applies not just to your customers, that's very important, but it also applies to your technicians and getting them motivated and excited about your company and what you're doing. In fact, it applies to your entire culture. So these are the types of things that we're going to be talking about as we break this down. The easy emotion is price. Everybody goes for that one, right? So we run these promotions and specials that you can save money and get rebates and all of these other things, and it works because we are all sensitive to price. But we have to be careful here. If we lean on that too much, we start to attract a certain type of customer. Once you have this type of customer in your customer base, many of them are stuck at the price emotion. So what about you and your business? You're good. But do your customers really know how good you are? Do they really appreciate and value what you do? Well, Pete, my customers love me and my work, you say. Well, I'm going to challenge that for you. I suggest that most customers have no idea what good or bad work looks like. They really don't. But they do know that you know the difference. And customers understand that if they're going to get a better service and even a better price, they need to be nice to you. So that smile you're looking at when you think your customers love you may not be as sincere as you think it is. It's just the go-to response that many homeowners have learned to incorporate in their personalities so that they can get what's best for them. So the question is, how do your customers really feel about you? And why should you really care? I think the obvious here is Google reviews and customer referrals. That all helps perpetuate your business forward, right? But actually, it's much deeper than that. You see, most business owners boast that they love their customers, yet they fail to focus at the one that's in front of them right now because they're looking at the next one. They're looking at their schedule. They're looking at themselves, and they're not looking at that customer. So let's talk about that customer for a second. If people are buying for emotional reasons and you are trying to sell them for logical reasons, there is a disconnect. He or she does not know what you're talking about. And most importantly, the underlying question that everybody always asks themselves, they don't understand what this means to me. That's the question everybody is asking throughout the day as they interact with companies like yourself or anything else in life. It's always, what does this mean to me? So as you start talking about sensible and latent capacities and how important that is as opposed to tons, they really don't understand what you mean. They judge you in a different way. So let's take an example here. We'll send the same technician out to the same customer as he works for two different companies. The first one is the old school heating and air conditioning technician, and the next one is a well-trained professional with a certain vocabulary and a very well-structured process. And check out this response. I just felt like the second company was more competent and much more knowledgeable. Now, this is the same technician in this example, and I think that this is very accurate. Customers will rank your competency, the quality of your work, how knowledgeable you are, all of these important things based on their gut, based on the cleanliness of your vehicle, right? Based on all of these other things. So we know that the technician is key to this process, but they are not the only part. They're just a piece of a bigger machine. Well, Pete, that's why I invested in that new brand or that new wrap. Now, this is very important, but you need to know what it is you're trying to communicate before you go wrapping things. I know a business owner right now, and he's asking me, Pete, I can't keep the phone ringing. And he spent over $50,000 for a new logo and a new wrap and you probably know who he bought it from. It's good work. It's great work. But unless you incorporate these things into that level, you're missing out a lot of opportunity. It's not just about catching customers' eyes and them saying, wow, that's cool. It needs to have a deeper emotional significance. Oh, but Pete, my website is wicked awesome. Well, good for you. How much traffic is it getting? Are people not going to the Google listings as opposed to websites these days? Do you not see that? That if you're not at the top of Google My Business, you're not getting those calls? But think about it. Where would people rather spend their time? On your sick, awesome website, or on Facebook talking with friends, or Instagram, or YouTube watching videos, or on Amazon shopping? Your website has a very specific purpose, and it needs to communicate very clearly certain things if it is to do what it was designed to do, and that is convert. The real decision maker is triggered, not convinced. Do you understand that? You can't convince people to do things that their gut is telling them not to do. The strategy is you need to learn to trigger the gut and then add the logic to justify the decision that they just made. This is extremely powerful. I hope you are getting this. So you will never get here with your customers if you keep getting stuck here. And you will never get here as a business until you get past here. It is all connected. Making the phone ring, finding good employees, low price focused customers being attracted to your business, overly slow work during the off season, selling high end service or selling high end systems, getting paid what you're worth, and all of the stress that comes with these. Next level results require a next level strategy. So I'm going to give you the 4 basic steps to this right now. Okay, so follow along with me. Number 1, we need to understand what those emotional triggers are that lead your best customers to saying, yes, I'll take that. Yes, I'll go with you. We have to start with the emotions. Then number 2, we have to create a unique identity that's different than everybody else, a unique message that promises something different, and a unique experience that engages those key emotional triggers. Number 3, we build a marketing machine, not just external, we're talking internal. We're talking the way the phones are answered. We're talking the way the technician interacts, the comfort advisor, the installers, the follow-up, the happy call, all of the touch points so that those triggers are being engaged at every interaction with your customers. Now, this is the big one, and you cannot skip this. Number 4, you must deliver your very best work. And you must have integrity. You must be honest, and you must actually care for your customers. Otherwise, all of this goes right out the window. People can tell if you're only about getting their money, and you don't want to be that company. You need to be human, somewhat vulnerable. You need to be genuine and authentic in order to be perceived as great. So this is a transformation, and it's throughout your entire organization and its culture. In order for you to make the shift from the struggling HVAC contractor over to the next generation HVAC entrepreneur, you need to infuse this into your DNA. This is not a quick fix. Unlike Shortcut Bob, he's always looking at the flashy things that are being thrown at him with these marketing agencies, and you get more leads, and you can rebrand or just do a killer wrap on your truck and that'll fix everything, or the killer website, or you can overpay for average technicians just to fill those trucks and get somebody in front of your customers. This is not for you. What you want is organic growth, healthy growth, long-lasting growth, not short-term temporary successes. And you don't want to be like know-it-all Jim. He already knows everything. Oh, I just need more customers, right? I just need to get some good technicians and I'm set. Or, once I find a good marketer, I'm good. It's not me. It's those cheap customers that live here in this town. Once I fix my SEO, I'm going to crush this thing. See, it's all about driving more leads. Besides, we tried all that other stuff and it just doesn't work around here. All I need is more of those 5-star Google reviews so that I can be successful. If we're going to be honest with ourselves, we all have a strength. And there are 3 business areas that you need to be strong in. One of them is a natural for you. The other 2 you're going to have to work at. But we all have one. Are you the technician or the expert who absolutely does the best work in your area? Or are you the manager type who loves crunching numbers and running reports and creating charts and digging into all that data? Or Are you the marketer who geeks out on stuff like what I just shared with you? What is your strength? Recognize that, and I'll give you a hint. In one of these categories, you're qualified to be the instructor, to teach the class. But in the other two, you may be pretty good. You're coming along, but still you recognize yourself as somewhat of a student. The key here is to get help in those other areas and continue to learn and evolve and take your business to that next level. And so this entire process, if you have the balance, it puts your business in that sweet spot, and it really makes an impact on every part of your business. As they say, all boats float on a lifting tide. Guys, I cannot overemphasize, this is the most important aspect of your business. It's all about your brand, it's all about your reputation, it's all about your customer perception. If you dial this in and you get this right, the rest of it gets a whole lot easier. So HVAC Greatness is what I decided to focus on. I put a process together to help customers just like you realize this and the returns. If you think about the financials of what this is costing you in missed opportunity and money left on the table, the return on the investment on this is it's a no-brainer, okay? You got to get this straight. Now, if you think you want a little help on this, I do offer a one-time free, no sales consultation, 15 minutes. You can set an appointment with me. We can talk about these things and see if there are opportunities for your business to take things to a new level so that you can be more profitable and eliminate a lot of those issues out there that continue to rise. But in the meantime, I also want to make sure that you do enjoy the virtual dinner parties. Again, these are free, but when you show up, you got to participate, okay? We want you to come in, work with our group, bring your biggest problems, bring some solutions, and you can help others as they help you. And that's how we grow as an industry and we all improve as a group. So thank you so much for coming. Pete Ramsey here. Welcome to the HVAC Greatness family. I will see you on the next call. Pete Ramsey here. I am out. Take care. Bye-bye.
Pete is one of those people that gets the HVAC industry. He really gets people. He understands your needs, your wants. If you want to spend more time with your family, you want to be home on time at 5 o'clock, Pete's the guy to help you. He really cares about the industry, the way that we treat our customers, communications, the way that we communicate with our customers, and showing your best self. Pete has helped me to cultivate a culture inside of my company that allows me to have more free time. It allows me to act and seem more professional, and streamline processes that are normally more difficult without that type of help.
I recently reached out to a business coach named Pete Ramsey from HVAC Greatness. I'm going to tell you something. This guy knows his stuff when it comes to business management. He knows the process. He puts the process in place. I've worked with Pete now for over 6 months, and I am absolutely delighted on every call that we get on together because it's always something new and adventurous that I can implement in my business that shows more profitability, less time that I have to spend on the business, and it makes me more money.
Also learning how to budget my time so I can still spend time with my family is something that Pete teaches us to do, to maximize every opportunity so that we're not working 80-hour weeks and we are, seeing our success and also able to enjoy it with our family. Really happy to be a part of HVAC Greatness.
Pete played a lot of roles in my success. A lot of good things came out from Pete in my career. It not only did it help me sell my business, did it not only help me get organized, did it not help me with a service call process. There's so many factors that came into play and that helped my business grow. I made more money, made my life easier in business. There's lots of different consultants out there, but Pete Ramsey was one of the better consultants out there.